What's up? What's up? Solo vibes today, but you know what it is, man. Your boy Arthur Moats in here, and we're gonna talk about it, man. Obviously, Bengals matchup did not go the way that we would have liked it to have went, but we'll talk about it. Obviously, we know that we had the official playoff picture get situated, man. So I got to talk about that as well. But I figured, man, while I'm still in between the internet getting situated, hopefully tomorrow, that's the goal, hopefully by tomorrow. So the goal is we'll get back to regularly scheduled program and go live later on in the week, right? But right now, man, I got the hotspot fully activated. So I got about an hour for you. Then after that, we go tap up out of this thing. But the homie Deke, man, he would have been here, but we live in Pittsburgh, and for those of you that don't know, it's snowing. Yeah. The snow is absolutely crazy today, man. So with that being the case, man, told the homie, stay safe. You stay there. We will reconvene at some point, man, to chop it up about this Bengals game, and more importantly, this Ravens matchup, man. So I'm excited about that. But shoot, I figure while I'm up here troubleshooting, getting the setup and adding little things to it, I said, man, why not go live for a little bit, man? Because I did see that comment. On one of my videos reacted to this most recent game. The homie hit me and said, yeah, man, ever since you stopped going live, Steelers ain't been winning. I said, oh, no, y'all ain't about to get me like that, man. So I figured I'm going to do my part. All right. I got my Thriller and Manila t-shirt on too, because you know who we got this weekend. You know what time it is whenever we see them boys. So with that being the case, man, we're going to start the show like how we always do, even when it ain't like how we always do it. But either way, we're going to have fun with it. So drop it in the comment section where you are tuning in from. And then after that, man, I'll give you a shout out on the front end to get the show started. And of course, don't forget to hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Like I said, man, gotta have a little fun with it, man, and play around with things while we in here, man. But I'm getting a little acclimated to all this stuff, man, microphone and everything like that. But shout out, I see you, Leah Warren, and yes, you were one of the comments that I was thinking of too. All right, so shout out to you. She says I'm doing my part. She in the 254 Killeen, Texas, as always, and she says she's glad to be back live. Listen, I was thinking about you. I was thinking about the gang. I was thinking about everybody, man. I say, yo, we don't go this long without being live, without the interactions. It felt a little weird, man. So glad to be able to get this thing rolling today. Man, we got Frank K out there, and he says it's hot as heck in Tucson, Arizona. 71 degrees right now. Yo, big time. Shout out to you for that, man. I digs that, man. Sequoia Harris in the 718, Bronx, New York. Shout out to the Bronx, baby. Let's get it. The bro buried in the 757 Chesapeake, aka the crib. Always got love for back home, you know that. And I see the homie David Decker in the 585 Rochester, New York. Says Happy New Year to me, man. Happy New Year to you and everybody that is rocking out with me today, man. Appreciate all of y'all. And like I said, man, we also appreciate the patience through the big move, obviously the new spot, the setup and everything and all the stuff that's happening in between that, man. Like I said, definitely appreciate you. But the goal is, man, to do more and more streaming, man, whether we're talking full podcast with the homie Deke. Obviously, you saw when TG was in, we're going to do more of that, guest being in studio. But, man, just like I said, man, connecting, man, having fun with this thing, all right? But, on the front end, before I forget, because like I said, I am solo today. I don't want to forget anything like that. Today's show is brought to you by wrong button, DraftKings Sportsbook, man. Shout out to DraftKings. We know the top-rated sports booking app in all of North America. Safe, secure, and most importantly, they are reliable. And we know it's wild card time, man. Playoffs are here, man. And what better way to get involved than to, add a little incentives while you are watching the games, man. And the best way to do that is, to download the app, DraftKings, right? And when you download the app, especially my new customers out there, you make sure you use the promo code Moats. Why? Because when you make that first bet of $5, you will receive $200 in bonus bets. It is a great concept, man, and it just adds to the fun as a whole. But at the same time, I understand we can get lost in the sauce, and it can get a little crazy at times. And when that happens, you know what you got to do. You definitely got to tap in, man, because obviously we see a couple of things going on up here, man. We got the gambling problem people. The people that are living in New York. You see the number that you can text. But I think everybody else, you see the digits to dial. They are 1-800-GAMBLER. I said 1-800-GAMBLER. I said, you better call 1-800-GAMBLER. And now we shall get back to the regularly scheduled programming. So with that being the case, let's tap in. Hey, and I see Country Billy talk about mute time. Absolutely not mute time, man. You see, I tried to give it to you the nice way today too, because I'm still playing around with the sets. I'm still getting used to everything. I ain't want to crush y'all like I could have, all right? So don't you do me like that, Mike could. That was the gentle. That was the, I'm going to just throw it out there, let y'all get used to the vibes today, all right? That's what that was. But anywho, man, we got to tap into it, man. So let me get this first thing we're going to talk about, man. Obviously, this Bengals game, man, that just went by wasn't what we wanted to see, man. 19-17, taking the L. Fourth game in a row where we obviously lost, right? And there are going to be plenty of things that have come up in question and plenty of things that deserve to be questioned. And I don't think that that's something that you shy away from. And I think that that's what we're going to talk about today, baby. So with that being the case, hit that like button one time for the culture on the front end. And don't forget to subscribe either if you are new to the channel. So for me, man, when I first was thinking on this game, man, I started thinking about positives versus negatives, right? What stood out in a positive thing or a positive manner? What was the negative things that stood out to me? And when I first thought about the negatives, right, because I know we want to start with that first, man, get it out the way. I said, man, time of possession. Holy smokes. We got to get off the field, right? Got to find a way to get off the field. And why is that? Well, number one, shoot, we don't get enough snaps. How can the offense, number one, figure out whether it's you're going to backdoor into a positive play, one of these weird plays are actually going to work, or whatever it may be? It's like, man, sometimes you just need more opportunities. You need more chances at it. We talk about in terms of the protection, right? Offensive line wise. Man, we said going into this game, one of the key matchups that we talked about, Trey Hendrickson versus my man Dan Moore. And why do we talk about that? Because we said, man, if Russ has time to if Russ has protection, man, we could really let this thing fly. We can take advantage like we did the first game, right? Or at least that was the thought. But obviously, we saw the game definitely played out drastically different than that, whether we're talking schematically, right? Because we know the approach in the first game was more of a pass attack, man, let Russ really do it with his arm, whereas this time it was heavy on the run approach, right? So schematically, man, definitely don't like that. And to me, I think it's one of those things where I think the knee jerk or the easy thing to do is simply say, man, it was a terrible idea to try to run the football and control the clock versus the Cincinnati Bengals. It's easy to say that when we are judging the result of, right? Because we ultimately did not do that. But the overall theory, I don't have an issue with because of this, man. We've talked about when you're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, what is the best defense against Patrick Mahomes? Your offense staying on the field, keeping that man on the sideline. Hey, man, when you were playing peak prime Tom Brady in New England, what's the best way to keep that offense stopped? How do you keep them from getting in rhythm? You got to maintain ball control. You got to find ways to keep the ball and maintain the possession so that way those guys stay on the sideline. So the thought process in terms of Joe Burrow, right, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, how powerful this offense was and how they were playing, well, yeah. Of course, it made sense to kind of come in with a similar thought process. Man, how do we control the clock? How do we take snaps away from that Bengals offense that was, you know, playing at a very, very high level this season? How do you get rid of that part of it? And for me, I thought that, yeah, trying to come out there and establish the run, it did make sense. The problem was this. I thought in the trenches where, once again, we should have been the more physical team, especially from an offense side of the ball, right? I'm going to get to the defense. Trust me, we're going to talk about them. But I just figured that, man, when you're looking at their personnel versus our offensive personnel, especially in the trenches, we should have had the advantage there to be able to control that part of it. Now, we said their best player up front was Trey Hendrickson. You could make a case that's their best player on defense. Man, he ended up leading the league in sacks this season, right? But with that, I'm just like, man, we weren't even winning the grass. So now when you're talking about the 12 out of 15 first down plays all being run plays called, right? It's 9 consecutive times, right, that we called it on first down. We call it that run, right? And all of that's getting blown up. The frustrating part is this. We're seeing it not work, and we're like, yo, when do you pull the plug on that plan? And I think that's the criticism when I look at Coach T, when I look at Arthur Smith, when I look at Terrell Austin, right? With all of those guys schematically, it's like, I don't fault the initial plan, right? Offense, I get the initial plan. You want to run the ball, man. That keeps the clock, right? Keeps the ball on your side, keeps Joe Burrow on the sideline. I get it defensively, right? We're going to try to play, all right, let JPJ be one-on-one on the backside with T. Higgins. We're going to do Corey Trice, have Minka over top versus Jamar Chase. Okay, in theory, that sounds good until we're seeing that, hey, man, Corey isn't really matching up with him as well as we would like. Maybe we should flip it. Maybe we switch it out, right? That's the part for me where you're just looking at them and you're like, why are we waiting that long to make the adjustment? And part of that is your overall belief, right? When you're talking about the belief in what you come into the game with, what you've prepared all week for, how quickly are you willing to abandon that? Now, it's very easy in these controlled climate settings where the game is over. We already got the answer to the test to say, well, why did you wait till this quarter to make that adjustment? Why did you wait until then to make that adjustment? But shoot, for me, I look at it and say this, man. You're going to believe that you and your plan is going to work because you spend so much time. You spend the countless hours. You're watching your guys practice it over and over and over, the repetition of it, right? You've seen this play work. You've seen that play work, and you know if your guys execute it, you can get this thing accomplished. So I partly from the player side of me says, yeah, okay, I get that part, man. Yeah, because you're going to continue to feel like, yo, we can make it happen. We can make it work. So that's the part where you're trying to figure out at what point, and I think everybody is going to have a different level of when they're ready to cut it and switch. Some people are ready to cut their whole preparation and go ahead and just throw whatever to the wind after one series. That's not the professional way. So when you're talking about why doesn't Coach Tomlin or why doesn't Arthur Smith or why doesn't Terrell Austin make these drastic changes in stadium after a series or two, it's because for those guys, man, they've prepared all week and put so much countless time and hours and resources into this plan that they feel like it will work. You just have to give it time. Now, that's the part where, like I said, they're going to have a lot more patience to see it through than we are as fans. Because what? I mean, I know I didn't put countless hours into the game plan. I know y'all didn't put countless hours into the game plan. So it's super easy for all of us to be like, what? Hey, man, this ain't working, man. Throw that away. I know you spent all week doing that. I know y'all practiced that. I know y'all done film and all this, but I don't even care about that no more. Throw that away. Let's just go to this now. That's not the recipe for success. So with that, now we have this, back and forth, man. Okay, well, if we're not going to have the quick changes because the coaches believe in it, then who is at fault? Where are we going wrong, with this situation? And that's the other part of it. So for me, man, when I think of where we're going wrong at, that's the popcorn theory, right? And I know y'all have heard that, and I'm sure y'all get tired of hearing the popcorn theory. Why? Because it sucks. It's not the first time that we've talked about it. It's not, the second time, third time. Shoot, might be the first time we said it this year, but it's definitely something that has popped up on numerous occasions in the past. So that's the part where I get okay, well, who do we put that blame on? Is that a coaching thing? Is that a player thing? And yeah, I think it's all of the above. Let me get this thing set up real quick, man. See, I'm over here multitasking and everything, but there we go. Let me get that right, because I'm going to definitely get back to this all the above real quick. There we go. All right, so for me, man, I personally think it's all the above when you're talking about who is at fault or why isn't it working a certain way. Part of that is this. When I say all the above, we're going to have a scheme, right? We're going to call a certain call, and we need it to work out a certain way. Fair. So let's plan it. Let's rep it. Let's do all these little things, man. Let's get all the little practices in that we need to get done. And now let's go out there and put it to work. Okay, that's the first part. That's the coaching part. When y'all heard me say, 25% I put on the coaches, the rest is on players, right? Because that 25%, it is matter. It does matter. Like the initial game plan, all right, we're going to have maybe one or two adjustments that we might try to go to. That does matter. But the reason why I say 80% or the 75% I put on the players is this. You can know the call right now, but if you're not as good as I am and I'm more locked in, I'm more detailed, and I'm actually going to do my job to the best of my ability, I don't care what your coach says. You're going to get your butt kicked. But now the flip side is this. At this level, when we say the talent is all equal, right, or extremely close to being equal, now we're talking about the little details. That inch 2 or 3 to the right versus that inch 2 or 3 to the left. And we're talking about it being that little bit of a difference between it being a completion or incompletion, right? It being a strip sack versus the guy gets away and steps up and makes a nice throw. You making the tackle versus you missing the tackle. So we're talking about this finite thing that takes a super amount of detail, and we've already seen it various points in times this season, and even in this last regular season game. We still are lacking in that detail in certain areas, man. And it's not just with vets. It's not just with the young guys. It's across the board. And I think that that's the part where, yeah, that does fall on coaching. But what is the appropriate response to that? Yeah, the easy thing is to say, oh, yeah, just fire it, man. Get him out of here. Cool. All right. I'll take that approach. Me, I don't have that approach. Why is that? Well, you have to think about it, right? We all are shaped up from the experiences that we've had. For the majority of you guys, your experiences are what? You've watched it, right? You've seen Coach Tomlin, man. You get to see some of the good. You really fester in the bad, or you might fester in the good and really not, deal with the bad, just depending on what type of person you are. But after that, you don't really get a chance to feel that feeling of, man, when nobody was really believing and you had to actually lock in and just look yourself in the mirror and find that answer, and then you do that. Well, shoot, man, you think about when I was here in 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017. That's what we did. That's what I knew. And who was that guy? Coach Tomlin. So with that, man, and when I think about the different ways that how it happened, the different coordinators and everybody in between, I'm like, yeah, that's why my belief is what it is. But I can't speak for you guys, your belief or your lack thereof. I understand that some people are naturally going to always default to pessimism. My natural default is optimism. I always say, man, I'm up at the mountaintop. Why? Because, man, I'm trying to chase greatness. You can't chase greatness if you're constantly looking for the negative, if you're constantly complaining, or you're constantly trying to detract from that hard work, at least from my experiences. So that is why, for me, you hardly ever hear me hollering about, yo, you need to fire this or stop that or do this, because from my experiences, the answers have always been with it. Nobody's about to come in here like Superman and save us, baby. So if you want to beat the Ravens this week, the answers aren't about to be anywhere outside of there. You have to look right in with it and say, man, how do we get that done? Now, that's the other fun part, because there are some ways that we can get that done. But we know it's going to take some soul searching, some of that internal mojo going on, man, because unfortunately we just haven't been consistent enough, man, with the execution in all three phases. When you're losing the turnover battle, when you're not good on possession downs, on third down plays, right? When the red zone, you're not converting, you're not getting enough stops. Now, I thought, weirdly enough, we did get stops in red zone this week, but offensively we didn't do enough to complement it. So you're stuck with, you only allowed 19 points, but you only scored 17. That's the give and take to that. Now, if we're going to talk overall, big picture schematics, I think that's a different convo as well, man. Everybody's going to have their approach. Everybody has their thing that kind of makes them feel confident that it can work. Right? We would all say that. Get a little sip of this thing too, man. I hit that like button too if y'all vibing out. And don't forget to subscribe either, man. I see y'all in the building today, man. I definitely appreciate you guys as well. Oh man, hopefully my hotspot doesn't go all the way out too soon, baby, but we'll keep giving it a go, man. Keep giving it a go. But in terms of the in terms of schematics though, right? I know our issue with Arthur Smith right now is, man, we are running the ball a lot, or at least we have this intent to run it a lot, but the success isn't really coming from that, right? So now we kind of got this weird situation where we're running it, we're committed to it, but because it's not effective, because we're not productive with it, here we are, right? It's almost like we're just doing the same thing over and over and over, but we're not getting any good results. So we're asking ourselves, why don't we switch out of that? When can we become a little bit more pass first? My hope is with Arthur Smith, he's in the lab. My hope is that he's watching the same film that all of us have watched, right? He's checked out that all 22 a couple of times now. And he's telling himself, you know what, man, maybe we should just switch it up a little bit. And instead of run every single first down, every time we got the first play of the possessions, maybe we switch it up a little bit. Maybe we go, the play action pass. Maybe we max protect it and take a shot downfield. Maybe we do something out the box, right? That's what I'm hoping for. Now, we won't know that ultimately until we get till Saturday, man. But that's kind of my thought with him. In terms of the defensively, I still felt like as a whole, we did do a lot of good things. I just thought that, number one, you're playing against an extremely high-powered offense in Cincinnati. Newsflash, the Baltimore Ravens are just as high-powered, but in a little bit of a different way. And that's why we typically have matched up well with Baltimore. But at the same time, this Ravens team is hot. This Ravens team is coming in with a ton of confidence, and we obviously know how Lamar has been playing. But to me, man, when I think of even Teryl Austin, I'm like, man, this is going to be a different ask this week for him. I think Arthur Smith, man, you're going to have some similarities because defenses are playing, Russ a certain way right now. They're trying to take away that deep ball, and they're all saying the same thing, man. Hey, he doesn't like to work the middle of the field too frequently, man. He's either feast or famine. And we understand that. We know his career has been what? Predominantly feast. That's why Russ is Russ. So with that, I think we're still going to get a similar approach from Baltimore defensively, and that's the part we got to see with Russ, how he makes his adjustments to his game. I'm banking on him doing that. But from a defensive standpoint with Teryl Austin, I'm like, man, you're going from the pass-happy Joe Burrow and the unicorn triple crown winning Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to now it's the Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, read option, run action. And when he throws, it's a lot of the pass being off schedule, right? It's not a ton of, man, rhythm. It's the, you're worried about these legs because he's extended for a little bit or stepped up, and now he's gashing you down the field. We know with Rashad Bateman, we obviously know Zay Flowers is a heck of a player. We'll see what his availability is, though, as well. But to me, I think that that's going to be the unique task for Teryl Austin. In the past, the way that we've got out of those stadiums whenever we're playing Lamar is what? Man, our front four, TJ, Cam, Larry O, Highsmith, or Herbig. Those are the guys that really contain and control Lamar and make him have to play faster than he wants. And we really force him into a lot of turnovers and just bad plays as a whole. The way that we've been rushing lately, it hasn't necessarily looked like that type of environment, though we still have been making plays. And that's the part. So it's like, we're playing well in certain areas, but it's not well enough. Now, I feel like we still match up very well with this Ravens offense. And that's the part for me where I still feel good about our defense. But the flip side is our offense. I got to see what we're looking like. If Arthur Smith's going to come out here and try to run versus that Ravens defense, I think we're going to be in for a long, cold, and just like, why are we doing this Saturday night? But hopefully that's not the case. So we shall see with that, man. But like I said, man, that's kind of how I see it from an offensive side, offensive standpoint from the schematics. Now, defensively, got a couple of options, man. I mean, I kind of broke down the way that Teryl Austin has done it, or the way that we've done it, just black and gold wise versus Lamar. But I could also, based off of these past 4 games and some of the lack of just pressure that we've consistently been able to create, or lack thereof, maybe do we kind of go back to that Blitzburgh vibe a little bit more, right? Where we start to send guys, or even what Baltimore's been doing. You look at what they've done, since we played them that first time, the way that they've shifted from a defensive standpoint, they blitz, but they also do a ton of simulated pressures, or what Coach Tomlin called it, bogus blitzes, right? Where I'm sending 4 people, but instead of it being 2 outside rushers and 2 down D linemen, it's a corner or it's a linebacker, but that D tackle's dropping, right? That edge rusher's dropping. We saw last week, man, the D tackle caught the pick, ran back like 2 yards, and then dropped. He looked pretty tired too, man. Shout out to the homie. But I could see us potentially, man, if we're not getting enough of that 4-man pressure, maybe we do start to, change it a little bit, man. Add a little bit of those simulated pressures in there where you're sending a Patrick Queen or you're sending a Peyton Wilson or a Beanie Bishop, right? But now you might drop out a Highsmith. You might drop out a Herbig or a White. Because to me right now, I'm just concerned if we just keep doing status quo. We know with Baltimore, they are very familiar with us the same way we are very familiar with them. They're going to do certain things to try to attack us, and that's something that we have not done a lot of in these matchups. So that could, like I said, man, add to the, element of surprise a little bit in a matchup like this, man. But we shall see, baby. We shall see with that. Final thing I want to talk though before I get to these supers, man, because I do see a couple of your questions coming in, and y'all hit that like button if y'all vibing out and enjoying the solo vibe today. Like I said, man, on this here snowy day, jacked off on the hot spot, man. Hopefully this thing keep holding strong, man. Service still looking good right now, so we're gonna keep it rolling. All right, we're gonna keep it rolling. I see y'all in the building though. Y'all ain't telling me I didn't lost my service yet, so we're gonna keep rocking out. Alrighty. But last thing, man, or I should say, I can't even say last thing. I actually got a couple of things I got to talk to y'all about, man. But GP, right? We know that was another name that had kind of come up, man, because it didn't have the best performance versus the Bengals. Then I think people were bringing up the scouts that were the anonymous scouts that had talked to the coaches at Georgia, or that were scouting him coming out of college, man, and all these other things, and didn't paint him in the best light, right? Definitely didn't. To me, you've heard me say it multiple times, man, and I said it ends once he becomes that fourth-year guy. Regular season has completed, man. All right, so to me, man, I think, once again, we know what Coach Tomlin has a track record of how he handles receivers. Why? Well, because we know receivers are different, man. We've seen that countless times now, and it's not just exclusive to Pittsburgh. If you think that's the case, I know you heard about that wide receiver in Miami that right after the game said, man, I'm out, I'm open, it's whatever. So clearly it's not just a us thing, right? But with that, though, man, Coach Tomlin typically does do an excellent job from my eyes of minimizing the radioactiveness, right? I was here when AB was here. So you can't tell me on GP what I've seen the AB. You feel me? I've already seen that. But to me, I just think the thing that we got to continue in terms of Coach Tomlin, in terms of those internal guys, man, got to just continue to give the positive reinforcement to GP. And the reason why I say positive reinforcements is this, man. I've been in those locker rooms. I've been around enough of these NFL dudes, these wide receivers, or just the guys that are superstars or have that type of vibe. If you try to big boy them, if you try to give them this, it's my way, highway, it's this, typically that isn't the response. You're not going to get the response you want. Usually they will go way more nuclear than conforming, and it's only worse now because you, as a receiver, to me, I think you have a lot more leverage just because of the nature of the position, and teams are a little bit more hungry for those guys because we know it's a passing league, right? You're going to sell tickets. Even if you're not going to help us win, you're going to get seats, you're going to fill seats, stuff like that. You're going to sell jerseys. So part of that you do have to factor in, but at the same time, we are kind of in that little bit of a crossroads where it's like, man, we got to button this up a little bit more as well, because it's one thing when it's, on field, up and down inconsistencies. It's another thing when it's internal in the locker room. But man, we can't have you on game day beefing with the fans. That's not a good look either. So that's the part for me where I just simply say, man, the positive reinforcements to at least let him know, listen, man, you can't change your past right now. Everything that has been out there throughout this year, throughout, your time in the NFL and your time in college, it is what it is. But what you can control is what it is going forward. Why is that important? Because, man, you can change the narrative. You go out here versus the Bengals on Saturday and you're showing positive energy. You're actually being an excellent teammate, man. You're not getting into it with people that you shouldn't be getting into it. I think that you're vibing on. I think that'll be a vibe right there. I think it'll look good. No different than what we saw last year from GP, right? Because a year ago, going into that Bengals game, man, the one where Mason starts, it's like, man, we were kind of on the tipping point of like, what is it going to be, man? But we saw how he was able to get back positive, and then from there, the actions replicated that, and we were good. So to me, I'm just hoping that for GP, man, it could be a similar case going into this Ravens matchup, man. It was loud again. It was hot again. All right, it is what it is. Cool. Let's go. How do we change that? Because we obviously know, man, off season's a different conversation. The reason why we're optimistic is because you still got another opportunity to change the narrative, change how people are viewing, change the conversation. And that's what you want to do. You want these opportunities. That's the best part about being an actual player. You don't have to hope and wish and pray that somebody else does it. You're in control. You got the sticks, right? So that's the part for GP where I'm looking at him and I'm like, come on, baby. If you want to be the guy that you fancy yourself as the fans, as we all believe you can be, It's like, man, this is the type of game coming up where you're going to have to show that. Now, the beauty is he also had this opportunity a year ago, right? Buffalo. We know how that game went. So I'm hoping also with that where we're saying, hey, man, this is what happened last time and how I responded, man. So now let me go out here and do it this way. And now let's see where the chips fall. I think that he can still be everything we want him to be. But I do feel like, man, it is getting to that witching hour, so to speak, man. And we're going to find out, man, sooner rather than later with him. But a couple other questions I have for you guys, though, man, before we tap all the way into it, because I do see it's getting choppy. All right, let me see. How y'all feeling stream-wise? I think we're still good. Stream health looking good. Okay. But so y'all let me know in the comment section, man, how we streaming it over there, man. If y'all still getting it good or not. About to say, just let me know. But I say, because like I said, we all tapping in off of this here hot spot and hoping and praying that we're going to get all this content off. But if not, we'll, have to make do with what we got right here, man. Okay. Are they saying we good? Y'all saying we Gucci? All right. Let me see. Okay. All right. Okay. Got a little buffer. All right. Yeah, like I said, man, I'm hoping this hotspot situation works, man. I'm trying to get an hour up out of it. But if not, then, man, y'all already know how we doing it. All right. I'm trying my best with y'all. All right. Well, yes, the audio is coming through clear, though, at least. Okay. Well, shout out, man. Hey, man, you know how it is sometimes, man. You got to make the technology shake every once in a while and hope for the best, man. So let me hurry up there, man, while we still got a little action. All righty. Let me get to these real quick, man, because I do see the homie Mike Hood, man. Shout out to Mike Hood, man, dropping a super chat. He says, welcome back to live, Mr. Moats. My big concern is our offensive line. 17 games in, and we still can't protect. Maybe the best thing that happened last year and be the worst thing that happens. What? Hold on. May the best thing that happened last year. Oh, I see what you said. May the best thing that happened last year be the worst thing that happens to Yens this year. Shout out to the positive energy on that one. I do like that. And yes, I do agree, man. In terms of the offensive line, I still have concerns with them as well. More so because of we saw how they just played last week, right? Dan Moore obviously didn't have the best game. And then you throw Mason McCormick in there who he broke his hand, right? That's what they're saying. He's getting fitted for the cast today. So now I'm just thinking to myself, I have a compromised young rookie hopping into a playoff game versus a very good Ravens front. And then I got Dan Moore, who my confidence level has dropped a little bit more so because of how these past couple of games have went. So yeah, I do share that sentiment with you, Mike Could, in terms of offensive line. But the beautiful part is this, man. The same way going into the season, there were a lot of people skeptical about Dan Moore and how well he could play. And then for the first 12 weeks of the season, we were all like, yo, Dan Moore has actually played really good this year, man. So for me, I'm hoping that we get surprised. I'm hoping that Dan Moore can get back to form. I'm hoping that Mason McCormick and his hand situation is good. And just across the board, the dudes show up and play to their full potential because they are way better than what they showed from my eyes these past couple of games, man. All right, Richard R. Bezo. Shout out to the homie Richard R. Bezo. He says, my first live after the move. Congrats, Moats fam. Nah, salute to you, man. I appreciate you rocking out, man. It's your first live. It's my first live, man. We live right here, man. I'm glad I got my comfy chair up here now, man. You know, when we got the move, I talk wifey into letting me get the regular living room furniture. Let me take that to the stew. So now I got my comfy chair up here, all right? That's it for hours. Fair and Bradford, I see you, baby. Appreciate the love on the super chat as well. All right. And he says, I know it's early, but are you paying to keep Najee and Jalen Warren? If not, which are you keeping? Tough business out here. No, respect on that, man. And I think that that's one of those ones, man, that's going to be really intriguing. I think the conversation surrounding Najee is what, man, you were one of 3 backs or one of 5 backs to go 1,000-yard season the first 4 consecutive times or whatever, right? Big accomplishment, man. We've also saw where I think Troy Aikman was kind of minimizing it. People have talked about, it's just 1,000 yards, man. You got 17 games, etc. And that is also valid. except for the fact that Najee's the only one that did it. So it's like, man, is it something that anybody can do, or is it something that only Najee can do? Because you're telling me that anybody can do this and that, you know, we could just draft whoever or anybody you throwing back there and they're going to do this. But yet, and still, here we are, another season, and I'm saying the same thing, that Najee has the 1,000 yards, and we're looking around, and it's like, okay, that guy has 1,500. That guy might have 2K, but are we doing? No, I ain't talking about them two dudes specifically now, because Saquon's that dude. I ain't gonna hold you on that. Derrick Henry's that dude. I'm not even in the least bit saying that Najee is with them. No, I'm not saying that. But I am saying that Najee, to me, is still in that top 10, because why? Does it matter how talented you are if you're not available to me? How great does that Ferrari look if it doesn't have any gas? Man, that's a beautiful Lambo, but it has a flat tire. Man, I love the Bentley Bentayga, but I can't drive it. I got a crack in the windshield. But here I got this here Ford F-150 Raptor. Man, I just gassed that thing up and it just goes. Rain, sleet, snow, hail, don't matter. Gas up, it goes, right? Gets me point A, brings me back every single time. Every single time. So you tell me which one is more valuable. The one that looks really good, the one that is high-end luxury, the one that when it is working, oh my God, you're going to kill the parking lot. But you can't use that all the time. You know, it's going to have one or two greats. Then it's going to have like one or two, keep it in the closet. Where you got this one over here, it's not as pretty. Doesn't always pass the eyeball test. But it never lets you down. It's always going to get you there and get you back. So here we are. So with me, man, when I think of Najee, that's the big part for me. Why I want to keep Najee. I don't look at that and minimize it. I don't think that that is some easy feat that anybody can do, because statistically it's 17 games now, and we have been conditioned to say that, 1,000 yards in 17 games isn't impressive. Cool. Tell me it's not impressive when I see everybody doing it. When the Najee stat is he is one of 32 starting running backs to have 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons with the touches, while splitting carries, while being available, while not having any type of fumbles. Yeah, that's when I will look at that and I'll be like, yeah, man, I don't care about that no more. But until I see that, heck, even the guy we're bringing up, and you know I love Jalen, shout out to 30, baby, absolutely. But even he has shown that he hasn't been capable to do the Najee load just yet, no matter how much we've tried to kind of put that on him, whether it's prematurely or not. We haven't seen that from him. So to me, that's my part, man. When I'm talking about Najee, I'm like, I got to rock with him, man. But the number is the question. I think he's worth 10 because of what the market is saying. But if I'm Pittsburgh, I want him less. If I'm Pittsburgh, I need him for like 7, 8. If we're being real, I can't give you too much because I got to figure out this quarterback situation. I got to figure out these wide receivers, man. Am I going shopping? There is a Tyreek on the market now. Do I need that? Do I want that? Right? So I'm thinking of all these things. So that's the part with Najee that I think that, you know, it makes it a little bit unique for him. Jalen, man, we don't have to worry about him right now. I think that you can get him at a still way cheaper rate than Najee. I think Najee is in that 10 million conversation. I think if we can talk, if Coach Simon gets in his ear, I think if the guys could talk to him and get him to take a little less, I think then, yeah, it's perfect. But I think if he gets any more than that, I don't think we're going to get the return on the investment that we want all the way, because now you're flirting with, you got to be force multiplier to the extent of you can take on that guy's production and that guy's production, because when you start paying Najee 10 plus million, somebody isn't going to still be here, especially depending on what we do at quarterback. No matter what we say, whether it's the Russ, whether it's Fields, whether it's the draft, whether it's trade, whether it's free agency, we got 3 quarterbacks on 1-year deals. We're going to have to spend some money this offseason on that position, or we're going to have to draft something. And now we're doing the whole hope and pray. All right, are you Bo Nix? Are you Drake Bay? Or are you Malik Willis? Or are you, Anthony Richardson? Like, we don't know which version we're going to get. Like, yeah, that's just a different game. So that's kind of how I look at that right there, man. But to me personally, man, I'm leaning Najee. Like I said, I'm leaning Najee, but I don't want to spend more than 10. So that's kind of how I look at that, man. But I still don't see why you can't keep Jalen. I think Jalen is still going to be very affordable, just from my eyes. All right. Now, Joe Gerbis, he says, that boy Tyreek won out. I'm going to give him a second. I think he says I'm going to give him a second round. We need him. That's what he says. We need him. Yeah. All right. Shout out. My man said, yo, I want the Tyreek Hill experience, man. Okay. Well, let's talk about it, right? Because we do know, I mean, Tyreek one of them ones. Don't play ball Reek now. Okay. Now, I'm prefacing this solely on all on field. Okay. All on field. I'm a Tyreek Hill fan on field, baby. On field, oh, baby, he's a speed demon, and I love going fast. Come on, baby. When you talking about Tyreek as a wide receiver, man, this dude obviously showed that he was more than just an elite return man. When I first played against him when he was in Kansas City, he was running back punts. That was the guy you didn't want to kick punts or kickoffs to. Yeah. But to see how this dude has evolved, how he's developed, how he's perfected his craft as a wide receiver, as a hands catcher of the football, as a route runner, man, and all these things in between. Honestly, that's the thing I've been most impressed with. Because early on, man, I had him pegged as just you're the next Dante Hall, right? You're Kansas City Chiefs, you're the return man, you're super fast. That's all you're going to do. But to see what he's developed into as a wide receiver and his ability to still be productive with the various caliber quarterbacks, right? Play with Patrick Mahomes, right? He's going to go down as arguably the greatest or one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game, regardless of our personal opinions on him. But then to go to Tua Tagovailoa, shout out to Tua, and still go out there and be top five, multiple occasions as a wide receiver, really like set the league on fire that first year down there in Miami. That's the part where I'm like, yeah, I know there is a lot that comes with Tyreek, man. But when you're talking about his on-field production, this is the guy that is the shifter, so to speak, right? You get him, and this isn't the Deontay, this isn't the Mike Williams type of trade. This is a bona fide top 5 type dude, man. And now the question is, all right, if you're doing it, what does it cost, and what are the ramifications of said cost? Because he's not on a rookie deal. We know Tyreek, he get big boy money, all right, and he produces, but that's a $25-30 million wide receiver, man. So now we're looking at the rest of our roster like, yo, who is gone? All right, hey, Naj, you got to be gone. All right, Rush, the only way you're staying is if you're taking like 20. Defensively, man, okay, all right, because there's some names we're gonna have to get. You catch what I'm saying, right? That's the Tyreek Hill effect, because it shifts the makeup of your team. It shifts the structure of your team. You're no longer, this well balanced. Now you're saying, yo, this is how we get it in. This is my Antonio Brown. This is my, what I'm coming here to do today. Can you stop it? Is the question. I don't hate the approach. Now, I do have questions in terms of, does Arthur Smith utilize him to the same extent? I mean, Tyreek has went from Andy Reid / Eric Bieniemy to Mike Daniels. I just, yeah. That's my only, shout out to Mike McDaniels though, man. But that's my only thing with that one, man. I do think that Tyreek is one of those players that, to me, I think he's going to shine wherever he's at. But at the same time, man, when you're going from offensive-minded guys that are really, really gifted in the passing attack, right? Mike McDaniel, really gifted in passing attack, right? You talk about the way that he's up the production from Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. You talk about Kansas City. We know what those guys are from passing attack. I just don't think that Arthur Smith currently has that type of mentality. So my concern is, how does that mesh? How do those schematics and thought processes merge? Now, we'll see how that also plays out, because we do know that Arthur Smith was requested for an interview with the Jets for their head coaching spot. We obviously know he was also requested for the Tar Heels head coaching spot at one time. He turned the Tar Heels one down. We'll see what happens with the Jets situation. But there is a scenario where maybe he is gone, and now you might be talking about bringing in somebody different, a little bit, with their scheme being more pass, first, because I know that's what a lot of people want here. Then maybe that changes the idea of Tyreek Hill and more so puts a premium on him now, because we got a guy that we think can utilize that. I just don't think right now it's as big of a priority, because the way Arthur Smith runs it, we're not trying to, get a wide receiver a ton of targets like that just yet, man. We're even seeing that with GP. So that's my only hesitancy with it, man. But I do like the thought process, though, man. I do like how your mind is working right there, Joe Gerbish. I hit that like button one time for the culture, and don't forget to subscribe either if you are new to the channel. All right. Let's go, UW. He says, man, Alan Saunders gonna get media kicked out the locker rooms in the NFL with those comments, with those comments. Well, I don't even know what he said. What Alan Saunders said, man. I missed that one, but hopefully it wasn't nothing too crazy. Jeez, yeah, no, I was nervous, man. The way X was going on these past 24 hours, I said, Lord, yeah, whew. I don't want to work into that spot. I'm glad we work here. All right. Yeah, it's crazy out here. Y'all be careful. Be careful. But yeah, man, I did not see what Alan Saunders said, man. So unfortunately, I can't give you a full on reaction to that. But yeah. Shout out to the positive energy though, man. All right. ASAP Smalls is in the building. Shout out to ASAP Smalls. He says Broderick thought he was Professor X in the first half. Oh my gosh. Also, putting Corey Trice on an island against Chase was confusing. Still got faith, though. Who we beating after the Ravens? Here we go. Shout out. So check it out, man. I like how you are doing this thing, man. In terms of this comment right here, ASAP Smalls. And in terms of who we beating after the Ravens, that's the winner of Chargers Texans, right? I think, yeah, should be that one. Yeah, because, yeah, we're the lower seed, so we're going to go. Yeah. But, in terms of my man Broderick say that he was Professor X, now you got to chill, man. I just be glad with Broderick be fighting. I'm like, yo, just keep fighting. One play at a time, just keep fighting. The thought process, though, with Corey Trice, I know people, well, actually, the funny part was this, man. People looked at the touchdown that happened, and that was why they instantly was like, oh, he got this hard on for, oh, we had Corey Trice and man-to-man coverage against Jamar Chase for the whole game. What were we thinking? Please, that was not the case, okay? I'm going to tell you, because I was watching it. I was down there. I could see it perfectly. We had Corey Trice pressed up on Jamar Chase for the majority of the first half, and we were having Minkah Fitzpatrick or Deshaun Elliott as the half-field overhang safety every single time. So what the Bengals did in the first half was this. Specifically on the touchdown play, they moved Jamar Chase inside, and then they built the formation through motion, and it forced Minkah to have to leave to go back to the middle of the field for the coverage to work the way that it was supposed to. Excellent job by Zach Taylor and those guys, knowing that, hey, this is what we were going to try to do to attack them. And all they did was essentially create a default one-on-one on the backside. No different when teams try to double team TJ Watt or side of protection to TJ Watt. And at times we've seen what? Man, we will put 3 dudes on one side of the ball and make you have to go that way with your protection. And now you force this one-on-one on the backside. That's essentially what they did. And those guys connected on it. They almost did it again the next series, but the difference was this. Minkah learned from that first one where he did make the adjustment and they got a full one-on-one. And the second time when they came right back to it the next series, Minkah just held back a little bit and allowed that play front side to have success, but he wasn't going to give up it was like a 20-yard deep end that was about to happen, almost like a skinny post type concept because of how they built the formation again. When we're talking about the NFL level, that's what it is, though. That's the little detail, that little schematic adjustment of, okay, instead of us putting Jamar out here at the one position where now Corey is out here and the change of strength motion doesn't pertain to how we're going to guard him, put him in the slot. Now when you make that change of strength motion, this safety has to move over. And now you got the one-on-one that you're looking for. That's all that was, man. That's not a game plan of Corey Trice, man, come out here and play this man one-on-one every single time. Absolutely not, because that doesn't make sense. Corey Trice at this level hasn't even proven that he could guard George Pickens for 4 quarters one-on-one. So why would we say that you could go guard arguably one of the best receivers, right? Top 2 receivers in the NFL one-on-one right now. So that was my whole thing with that, man. But that's the part where I said, man, those dudes were smart, man. Shout out to Zach Taylor for that. And then shout out to Minkah the next series making his adjustment. But that's what it is. Those are the little things that don't always get seen. And that's the part where, hey, man, I come up here and tell you from my perspective what I did see. But like I said, man, that's part of what they were trying to do with that, though, man. So let me get to the next one real quick. Oh, let me see. I think y'all were trying to give me some of the cliff notes on what Alan Saunders said. I hope he didn't say nothing crazy, though. Oh, all right. I don't know what y'all are. Yeah, hopefully he didn't say that. You said this in his own words. That ain't a good look. Yeah. Woo. That is not a good look. Whew. But like I said, I didn't see it, so I'm gonna leave it alone. Y'all know it was on the timeline, man. It was, hey, I thought I was in law class. I thought I was back at JMU on my political science. You know what I mean? Just, hey, these are with the plaintiff. And this, So yeah, I ain't get the Allen yet. All right, I'm gonna check that when we done today. Y'all hit that like button one time for the coach. You don't forget to subscribe if y'all are new to the channel. As always, you know your boy appreciate you being in here with me, man. Hunter Gaming. Shout out to the homie Hunter Gaming. Says, hey, Moats, I need you to pump me up for Saturday. I'm always positive, but these last few weeks, I've been seeing nothing but people being negative. Let's get pumped for Saturday. Now, you already know that's how I feel. I always say this, man. Power to mind is, the beautiful part, man. In the sense that they talk about manifesting things, right? Talk about that positive belief or that unwavering feeling that, man, I can. Why? Because I can. Yeah. So when you talk about, Coach Thomas' mindset, my mindset, and a lot of times, man, I get, kind of put in the, yo, man, you're an apologist, or, you don't want to go against the team. You're a homer. It's not that I'm a homer. It's not that I'm an apologist. Trust me, man. That's not how it works when you're a professional. I promise you of that. In fact, it's the funny concept of like you learn to get that like blood in terms of like the crazy fan part more so when you're done playing. When you're playing here, it's like, yo, you are so locked in on the details of how to win that you don't even get, enamored with the highs and lows of what the fans have to say or how they might feel or perceive it. But now, since I've been retired for a little bit, I kind of get a chance to see both sides. To me, man, I think that it's a simple way to stay positive for this game, man. A simple way to stay hyped for this game. You're playing against a team you already beat this season. The pressure, when I think of pressure, I think of, man, being asked to do something that I'm not capable of doing. Now I got to figure out, how can I do this? Can I pull a rabbit out the hat? Is somebody going to save me? Beating the Baltimore Ravens, is that to y'all? Man, I don't feel like that. Why? Because I've already seen us do it. Heck, we beat them without even scoring a touchdown. I remember the Wizard of Oz. I remember the Dan a lot. You can't beat this type of team without kicking field goals. So I've already seen that. So now I'm asking myself, if offense can just figure out a way to play better, just a little bit better. Okay, all right. So that's my first part of the positivity. But the next part is this, man. Shoot, me specifically, I can't speak for the viewers. Can't, because y'all don't have the same experiences as I did. But when I was here, we won a lot. We had success in the postseason, and the guy that led me in the battle every week was Coach Tomlin. So until I see his head get chopped off, I'm not about to waver from that. I'm like, yeah, I'm still running in the battle. Let's get it. Why? Because the experiences, right? When you've done it enough, and you've had that success with that man enough, and you bled in that room, man, and you looked that man in that eye, it's a different concept. But not everybody has had that. So that's why I can definitely understand not everybody having my mindset, baby. And trust me, you don't have to. All right. That's the cool part about it. We all get different perspectives on it. You know what I mean? And that's fun. But to me, that's why I got this belief. That's why I'd never change. That's why you always hear me come up here and look you right in your eyes and say, what? Yeah, I feel great about it. Why? Because I know what the boss man is doing. I know how he's preparing for these guys. I know what the guys, in terms of the messaging in there is, right? I know what a Cam Hayward is preaching. I know what a TJ Watt is preaching. I know what a Minka Fitzpatrick is preaching. I know what a Russell Wilson is preaching, right? That's how I look at it. That's why I find my confidence. That's why I find my comfort that I'm not even seeking. But that's kind of how I look at it, man. Now from there, execution is going to be the next part. And then the beautiful part is this. We'd always say as players, we do all that hard work that I kind of broke down to you. And then Saturday about 11:30 p.m., maybe 11:45 p.m., and the game is over and the black and gold is won and they're going to the next round. That's when everybody else can kind of fully get on board and really rejoice. And then we'll beat our chest, do the whole, we're the Steelers, we own Lamar Jackson and all that other stuff like we always do, right? But we get it. When you don't necessarily have the experiences of being in those situations and overcoming it time and time and time again, it's way easier to just be like, yo, man, I don't see how this works. I'm scared. Or I don't want to say scared. We don't want to see comfort. We should just fire it all. We don't say scared. We say we should fire everybody because we don't have the chance. That's what we say instead of just saying, yo, we scared of them. We think they're better than us. So I get it. But that's why, like I said, for me, man, I just have a different perspective on a lot of that, man, whether we're talking sports or just life in general. And that's why you always hear the positive, approach from me. It doesn't have anything to do with Mr. Rudy, let's be real, man. YouTube paying this right here, so you say what you want, really, But as across the board, it's just like, man, you say what you feel. If you're honest about it and you feel, conviction when you're saying it, man, then that's all that matters. And that's kind of how I look at this team, and especially with Coach Tomlin. Now, whenever that time comes when he is gone and he's no longer here, all right, different convo. Way different convo, because now I can't sit here and say, yeah, I've been to battle with this dude. I know what this is. I've seen the track record. That changes. But until then, why would I not? When has that not delivered for me? And like I said earlier, our past experiences, man, they shape us to where we kind of are right now, man, and kind of give us that mentality of how we want to go going forward. So we'll see with it, man. We will definitely see. But let's see, man, we got a couple other supers that just came in. Let me get these, man, and then we'll get up out of here. But definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all rocking out today on this here live off the hotspot. One more day, and then internet should be back up. It's been an ordeal, though. It's been an ordeal. All right. But let's go, UW. He says Allen essentially got called out in a group chat whining about GP not answering his bait question where he lied about what Russ said after the Kansas City game. Wow. Yeah, well, honesty is the best policy, man. It's one of the things that's kind of going around right now, man. All right. Yeah, it's definitely one of them things, man. But in terms of that back and forth, some people want attention, man. And for some people, they, like I said, try to go the bait route to get that attention. And when they don't get it that way, they, try to go a different way with it. At the end of the day, man, I don't entertain the negativity. I think it's a lot more fun to just rock with the positives and the guys that want to rock with you. And it's okay if they don't. You know how big the world is. You know how many billions of people are on this planet? Baby, everybody ain't gonna like you. You're not gonna like everybody either. So it is plenty of other people to rock out with. So in terms of the thought process from Mr. Saunders right there, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I also don't really engage with it as well. So here we are, right? But shout out to the positive guys on that, man. Shout out to the positive guys. And then we got the homie Richard R. Bezo. He says 31 with the TP type pick. House and one like Troy on Saturday. Now, Beanie Bishop, man, where he ended the season with 4 picks. Had a nice one in the game as well, man. Trust me, man. I'm all for it. Beanie is one of those Johnny on the spot type guys, man. He plays with great effort, man, and makes the plays that he's supposed to make. When the ball is in his vicinity, he's catching it. That's what you want to do. That's what you need to see. So he's going to get some opportunities. If he has that ball in his vicinity, man, go get your name in the paper. I guess they don't do that anymore. Go get your name on TikTok, I suppose, right? Get your name on YouTube. But no, without a doubt, though, man, I definitely, feel like for Beanie, man, why not get another one? 4 of them things, he's coming off another game where he just had one, man. Go get you another one, man. Go get you another one. But that's the part that I like with Beanie, man. Across the board, man, he never is ducking it, man. He's never looking back and saying, oh, man, bad play right here. Just, no. He's constantly next play, positive mindset, got that dog in him, man. And that's what we love, man. But like I said, man, let me see before I get up out of here. Before the hotspot completely goes crazy. Oh, now I know what I actually needed to ask you guys about. Because I did see this, man, while I was watching the television on my phone, right? Because, like I said, I ain't got no real internet right now. But I want to say it was Schefter. Yeah, Adam Schefter. Brought up Coach Tomlin. What if a team calls to ask for a trade? Would you trade Coach Tomlin? Woo! Hey, now. That's what they said. Would you trade him? Let me know. Would you? In the comment section. Hit that like button. But would you trade him? What package you looking for? It's a first-round draft pick? I mean, we've seen that John Gruden get traded before, right? We know with Sean Payton, he was retired, and then they traded his rights to Denver. But I was like, ooh, we on that again? Is it time? Do we revisit that? Whew. I know for some people, they say, man, 10-7, this is the Tomlin way. Man, a late season collapse. Potentially another one and done. Well, actually, most people already confirmed it's a one and done. I'm still of the naive belief that, yeah, man, Coach Tomlin going to do what he's done every single time I rocked out with him. Going to find a way. All right. But I get it, man. So that's the part where I was like, ooh, Okay, we talking trade? Because I do know there are candidates, right? Everybody brings up Ben Johnson, right? The OC in Detroit. They love him, and he has been cooking. 1,000% has been cooking. Think Vrabel, right? Mike Vrabel is another name that has been brought up. Let's see who else most recently. Oh shoot, that's right. They just fired but actually never mind. That was Mayo. I was like, who they just fired in New England? Gerard Mayo. Shout out to Mayo. But yeah, so I'm thinking of all these different. I'm like, yo, there are some candidates, right? If you want to go that route. But me personally, you know how I feel about it, man. I've been to battle with the dude. He's proven. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, if you're interested in a Ben Johnson, I think it's intriguing. But at the same time, is it proven? We'll find out. I'm interested in it, though. But to me, like I said, man, until I feel like Coach Tomlin doesn't have it anymore, until I feel like, he's completely lost it, until I feel like, man, we are completely bottoming out, which people have brought up, right? They're like, man, we suck. Man, we need to go 3-4 so that we can go 3-4 win seasons. So that way we can go ahead and draft in the first round, get a quarterback. And it's like, I'm hearing all that. But what you're telling me is with Coach T, we still don't get close enough to being that bad. And what you're telling me also is, he's still going to get you these tens of wins where you're still going to have this chance to actually get you a real life victory in this wild card round versus Baltimore Ravens team. And it's like, all right, are we that close to this, or is it closer to we should just blow it all up because we're trash, we suck? That's my big disconnect, because I don't feel like it's close to this. I feel like we're closer to this, but once again, we're in that nitpick, fine tune, how do we slip, nip, tuck to get this thing in here? But the clock is running, and that's the other part with it. So like I said, man, I could definitely understand why people are open to a lot of it and why people think that, when we're looking at a Ben Johnson and it's exciting because he's an offensive coordinator and it's just that he has to focus on, we look at him and say, well, why can't he be the head coach? My only thing I'll say is this. Arthur Smith is a prime example. Tennessee, he was the offensive coordinator down there, man, with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, and we saw how he had both of those guys having their best seasons, right, up until most recently with Derrick Henry. But that's when Derrick Henry's production took off. That's when Ryan Tannehill's production took off, right? Both of those guys. He gets the head job in Atlanta now because of the offensive success that he had, and we saw how Atlanta win. We all remember that. We were like, yo, what is that? You're not using your guys. Why? Because you just got way more on your plate. So when I look at Ben Johnson, heck, before I get to Ben Johnson, Cliff Kingsbury. Man, you saw what he did in Washington this year. He's cooking. He got fired in Arizona, though, right? Why? Because it's bigger than just this part. When you're the head man, you got to focus on special teams, defense, offense. Which coordinators do you have in? How much input are you giving your coordinators? How much do you allow the coordinators to do? How much are you in control of personnel? It's just so much more to it. And you're talking about with the young guy on top of that. So that's the part where, like I said, I'm just kind of like, me personally, I want to see him do it somewhere before I, get off of this one and go to that one. But that's kind of how I look at it, man. Whereas for me with Coach Tomlin, I still have that confidence in, because even in another Tomlin season, I'm still sitting here with 10 wins, already got my playoff ticket, and now we got a chance. So even though we're not, by, I guess, our standards, the number one team in the NFL, we're still a top 7 team in the AFC with a legitimate chance to win a game in the postseason this Saturday at 8 p.m. So I feel like I'm confused. Are we trash? Are we all the way over here? Or are we closer to there? But we'll find out come Saturday, man. We will definitely do that. I do see the homie Donovan Bickelhop showing some love with another super chat. He says, to be a head coach, you have to be more than X's and O's. Need a leader of men. And I will agree with that 1,000%. I've had a lot of very smart, very great X's and O's people, but not a lot of great leaders, not a lot of great coaches, not a lot of great motivators, the guys that understand how to communicate that information that they're receiving when they're studying and then giving it to us as players, right? When we talk about that part, it's a lot of disconnect that happens there. It's a lot of, man, this looks good in this control setting, but now when it's time to actually implement it and something doesn't go right, how do I communicate? How do I respond to that? How do I motivate you when you're high, when you're low? How do I do all these things? Yeah, not a lot of coaches out there could do both. And I feel like with Coach Tomlin, his track record has proven that he can. And even in this year, regardless of what we might be feeling in the moment, league-wide, the statistics reflect that. You're not a bad coach if you're getting 10 wins. You're not a suck team if you're in the postseason. You're not the worst team ever. Don't stand a chance at life when you clinched your playoff spot, 3 weeks ago. And everything here we were trying to get was icing on the cake. Ultimately, we did not get that. But you still had already had your ticket punched. For all these other teams that we talk about being oh so good and oh so scary, it's like, Cincinnati, you're at home right now. What's going on, right? We talk about, all these other teams. It was like, oh, they're good. That is like, they can't be that good. They're at home. We're still in the dance. So, like I said, man, that's why I get a little confused at times, man. But either way, man, that will conclude today's show, man. But I greatly appreciate each and every one of y'all rocking out with me today, man. Hopefully the technology was technical enough. But either way, man, if you enjoyed it, like I said, that like button and don't forget to subscribe. But either way, I appreciate you for tuning in. And until next time, baby. Peace.